हेलो फ्रेंड्स। आज के इस वीडियो में हम ह्यूमन बींग्स में रेस्पिरेशन के प्रोसेस को समझेंगे। रेस्पिरेशन इज द प्रोसेस बाय विच एनर्जी इज रिलीज्ड फ्रॉम फूड इन आवर बॉडी। The function of respiratory system is to breathe in oxygen for respiration and to breathe out carbon dioxide produced by respiration. Respiration and breathing is a different process. Breathing is the process by which air rich in oxygen is taken inside the body of an organism and air rich in carbon dioxide is expelled from the body. The taking in of air rich in oxygen into the body during breathing is called inhalation, and giving out the air rich in carbon dioxide is called exhalation. Thus, we breathe in air to supply oxygen to the cells of our body for the breakdown of food to release energy, and we breathe out to remove waste product carbon dioxide from our body, which is produced during the breakdown of food in the cells. Next, mechanism of breathing. The process of breathing takes place in our lungs. Lungs are connected to our nostrils through nasal passage and windpipe. Our two lungs hang in an airtight space in our body called chest cavity. Around the sides of the chest cavity is the rib cage with sheets of muscles between the ribs. At the bottom of the chest cavity is a curved sheet of muscle called diaphragm. Diaphragm forms the floor of the chest cavity, and breathing involves the movements of the rib cage in the diaphragm. When we breathe in or inhale, then the two things happen at the same time. The muscles between the ribs contracts, causing the rib cage to move upward and outward. The diaphragm contracts and moves downward. Both the processes increases the spaces in the chest cavity and make it larger. As the chest cavity becomes larger, air is sucked in from outside into the lungs. And when we breathe out or exhale, even then the two things happen at the same time. The muscles between the ribs relax, causing the rib cage to move downward and inward. And the diaphragm relaxes and moves upward. Both the processes decreases the space in the chest cavity and make it smaller. As the chest cavity becomes smaller, air is pushed out from the lungs. Next, respiratory system in human. The main organs of human respiratory systems are nose, nasal passage, trachea, bronchi, lungs, and diaphragm. The air for respiration is drawn into our body through the nostrils present in the nose. The air then goes into nasal passage. The nasal passage is separated from the mouth cavity by a hard bony palate so that we can breathe in air even when we are eating food. The nasal passage is lined with fine hair and mucus. The part of throat between the mouth and windpipe is called pharynx. The trachea is a tube which is commonly known as windpipe. Trachea does not collapse even when there is no air in it because it is supported by rings of soft bones called cartilage. The upper end of trachea has a voice box called larynx. The trachea runs down the neck and divides into two smaller tubes called bronchi at its lower end. The two bronchi are connected to the two lungs. The lungs lie in the chest cavity or thoracic cavity, which is separated from abdominal cavity by a muscular partition called diaphragm. The lungs are covered by two thin membranes called pleura. The lungs are enclosed in a rib cage made of bones called ribs. Each bronchus divides in the lungs to form a large number of smaller tubes called bronchioles. The smallest bronchioles have tiny air sacs at their end called alveoli. The walls of the alveoli are very thin and are surrounded by very thin blood capillaries. It is in the alveoli that gaseous exchange takes place. The diaphragm is a seat of muscles below the lungs which helps in breathing in and breathing out. Next, rate of breathing. Breathing occurs involuntarily, but the rate of breathing is controlled by the respiratory system of brain. The average breathing rate in an adult man at rest is about 15 to 80 times per minute.